happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome to Houston Live and Local. I'm Anthony Answan. Hopefully you guys are having a good Thursday. We got a lot to talk about. We are, of course, watching the markets here with the stocks and bonds and how things are going. We also have a high-end burglary attempt, but we do have some developments here in a cold case that's decades old, and our Leslie Delaspore is following that story as the search continues. Leslie, good afternoon. Can you tell us what we know so far?
Hey, Anthony. Yeah, I can. So as you mentioned, we are in Santa Fe, and this is actually on Pine Street here. I want to step out so you guys can take a look at kind of what I'm seeing here. So Santa Fe Police and Texas EquiSearch are following up on leads from a cold case that dates back to 1983. Now, detectives came out and they told us that they have not found a body. I repeat, detectives said they have not found a body, but sources tell us that this is the home of a missing woman by the name of Sandra Ramber, who went missing in 1983. This was her family's residence back then. And again, as I mentioned, Texas EquiSearch is out here assisting. We haven't been able to go into the backyard, again, as this is private property, and take a look at all the tools that they're using to investigate, but we have seen a couple of drones flying over in the backyard as well. Now, Santa Fe Police said that the current owners of this house have not been in the house that long, but they are cooperating. And again, they're just investigating a tip or a lead that had nothing to do with the current homeowners, but just about the location here. So again, Texas EquiSearch is on scene here. They have a lot of different vehicles and different tools out here to help Santa Fe Police, but we will continue to keep you posted with more as we continue to develop and hear more from police and Texas EquiSearch. Anthony?
Hey, Leslie, before you go, really quickly, did they give you a sense of when we can get another update possibly here today, or just kind of wait and see?
We're just kind of waiting and seeing. I mean, detectives saw us pull up and they came out and they talked to us and they just informed us that, hey, you know, at this time there is no body. They have not found a body. They're just following up on that tip or that lead. But as soon as we do get something, we will be sure to update you all, even if it's during, you know, this show right now here at 2.
All right, Leslie, we appreciate you. We'll let you get back out there to see if there's any more developments in this cold case. Thank you so much for your time. All right, let's get back here in studio. We are now joined with Jonathan Mejia. Jonathan, we have a burglary attempt at a high-end apartment building. That's kind of intense. So what do we know so far?
It's very intense. So when you mention high-rise luxury apartment, you think, you know, you have your security, you think you won't go through these problems. But we saw ring camera video of this attempted break into the apartment, not once but twice. So I think we have the video. I want us to see it and then react to it here. But if we don't, just briefly, we'll take a look at it right now, I guess. There it is.
Do we know the name of this apartment complex?
Drury Place.
Drury Place. I think
In Midtown.
In Midtown. I think I've seen this place, actually.
Y'all can't be that goddamn dumb. You can't be that dumb.
So you can see there, you know, there's 3 men in there in the 9th floor, and they're attempting to break in. Now, the apartment owner was able to kind of speak to these people through the camera, telling them, I don't think you guys can't be that dumb to try to break into someone's apartment. And in the video, you can kind of see one of them is wearing, it says retired drug dealer. And they not only come in with the crowbars, but they also had a gun. So we'll have that in our newscast later on this evening. But a very scary moment. And the tenant tells us that she spoke to the property manager and they gave her 3 days to move out. So I reached out to the apartment complex property manager, and they tell me that it was an understanding between the tenants and the property manager that she wanted to leave. It was okay because she felt unsafe. But if she wanted to leave and, you know, break her lease and not have to pay any fines, she would have to do it within 3 days.
Whoa.
It's a lot. A lot.
So let's all put ourselves in that situation for a second, right? Like, you're at your apartment, I'm at my apartment, we see this take place, and you're telling me the property management company is telling her she's got 3 days.
She has 3 days if she wants to break her lease and not pay any fines, and also get her security deposit back. So Houston police investigated, and they determined that this was an isolated incident. And the property manager, they called me minutes before coming on here, the PR team from New York, and they told me that what they found out was that this tenant had multiple people she gave access to her apartment. And I asked, okay, well, these 3 men that we see on the video, because in that apartment, you know, it's is luxury. So you tap in, you get access code, and they take a picture of you of who's using the access code. So I asked, were the 3 men able to get access to the code? And they was like, we don't know. So it's unknown how these guys got in. But it's a very scary situation. And, it's unfortunate that, you feel unsafe and you're given 3 days to figure everything out. That's like, whoa.
Yeah. And now when I'm sitting here thinking about this and listening to you, okay, that's the video from the person at the apartment, but does the apartment actually have video of these guys entering? Because I would assume there's video from like the lobby or the main entrance.
Yeah, so we asked that, and again, I got on a call with the PR manager of the apartment complex in New York. So she's been going back between New York and Houston.
Yeah.
So I asked, these questions because one has to think, well, there's Ring camera video, but also there should be video of these guys entering.
Exactly.
And if they're entering, how did they enter? So she told me that they have increased security patrol, not only on the 9th floor where this took place, but also around the complex, and just having more visibility so that people can know that it's a secure place.
Okay, one last question for you. So HPD or the sheriff's office, like, to what capacity are they involved with this?
So they completed their investigation and they found out that it was an isolated incident.
Okay.
So it wasn't something that's been happening over time in this apartment complex, and they haven't received any complaints from any other tenants.
But they weren't able to identify or give us another picture of these guys without those ski masks on. They don't have any.
No, we were not able to do that.
Right.
I mean, we have the police case number, and we reached out to HPD. But from what we heard from the apartment complex, that this was an isolated incident.
Jonathan, good work on that. That is, I'm blown away by this, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But that's also speaking to the value of having like a Ring camera or a Ring doorbell, just whatever it is, so you can see what's going on at your apartment. That, Jonathan, thank you so much, bud. That's good stuff. You'll have more on that tonight at 5 and 6. So definitely join us because I'm interested. I don't know about you guys. All right, next up, let's talk about the stock market here. U.S. stocks are diving here today, and they're surrendering much of yesterday's historic gains as President Trump's trade war continues. So there's a lot of nervous investors out there. Here's a live look at the New York Stock Exchange. Lots of red, a very different scene from what we saw there yesterday, where we saw a lot of green and a lot of stocks rebounding. So let's take a look now and check in with what you guys need to know from our anchor, Caroline Collins, who sat down with an expert to look at what's taking place.
All this attention focused on questions for financial expert Robert Wyrick with Post Oak Private Wealth Advisors is joining us tonight to kind of break down what you should know. So we wanted to take a look at what people should know in different age demographics. So I'm kicking you off with the most important question because it's my age bracket and I get all of my financial tips from TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. So what should people in their 30s who are probably doing the same thing as me, what should we know about investing and taking care of our wealth management?
That's an excellent question, Caroline. What I would say to someone in your age category is to embrace volatility. I often say that we get paid for our patience and seek higher returns in the market by being able to put up with volatility. There's a concept called dollar cost averaging. So if you're contributing to your 401k or another investment account and the market goes down, it just allows you to buy more shares with the same amount of dollars. And so stay the course, understand you have a very long-term horizon, and don't panic, right? Markets go up and markets go down. This is certainly a more volatile period than we normally experience, but it's just the nature of the markets.
Yeah, I feel like people sometimes in their 30s just feel like, we're just getting by, we're finally moving up in our career. So then you enter your 40s and maybe you feel a little bit more secure. What should you be honing in on in your 40s when it comes to managing your finances?
Yeah, great question. So, I would advise to avoid what I call lifestyle creep, which is, you're earning more money, our expenses go up, we buy more expensive cars and spend more money. So stay focused on your long-term plan, which ultimately is retirement. Don't worry so much about volatility. You're likely earning more money in your 40s. And so continue investing and invest more and make sure that just like in your 30s and in your 40s, that you're focused on growth, right? One of the real risks sort of beyond market volatility is inflation. And we've seen inflation spike over the last few years, but historically it ranges still just under 3%. And so if you're not investing in such a way that you're in keeping pace with inflation, then you're ultimately losing purchasing power over time. So stay the course, increase your investing as your income grows, and make sure you're invested in something that's going to keep up with inflation.
Okay, so now we're talking about people in their 50s, and this is the point where you can kind of see retirement, right? You're thinking more serious about it. So I personally feel like your 50s is a decade where you really need to hone in and get very serious about what you're doing with your finances.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I think a company years ago kind of coined the term retirement red zone. This is when people really start to get serious, like you said, and truly are probably in their peak earning years. And this is a time to really double down, understand that you still have a very long-term horizon. So it's not a time to get ultra conservative. Focus on not just on a lot of us save through 401ks, but continue to focus on obviously your 401k, after-tax accounts, and Roth IRAs, where you can start to build some not just asset diversification, but tax diversification, so that when you do get into the withdrawal phase, you have more levers to pull in terms of how you manage your withdrawals.
Oh yeah, I hear a lot about Roth IRAs when I'm researching this stuff on social media. I'm glad you brought that up. So now you're in your 60s and people are so close to retiring. Many people do retire in their 60s. What is the most important steps that people can take when they're at this decade of their life?
Yeah, a couple of key points. One is that even if a person is retiring tomorrow, to some degree, you still have a long-term horizon, because if you're retiring tomorrow, it doesn't mean you're going to be pulling all of your money out tomorrow. So you still have a 10, 20, 30 year or more time horizon. And so once again, focus at least a portion of your portfolio on growth. And we like to talk a lot about sort of bucketing assets and making sure that you have some money that is conservatively invested and available for withdrawals, and having some money that may be a little bit more moderate, but understanding also the need to really continue to keep up with inflation. Because interestingly enough, the things that people in retirement spend money on tend to have a higher inflation rate than the goods and services that we purchase when we're younger. Things like healthcare, home services, things like that tend to inflate at a much higher pace. And so stay focused on the fact that you have a longer term horizon, but also have a portion of your assets positioned in such a way that they're not subject to volatility, and so that you're not having to sell in a down market to fund your lifestyle.
This is all such great advice. See, I'd be intimidated to come and have a chat with you, but that was nothing. That was all great advice. Very helpful. Thanks so much, Robert Wyrick with Post Oak Private Wealth Advisors. You make me feel more comfortable coming to you guys for advice.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks.
All right, Caroline, good stuff there in that conversation. All right, so last couple of days, the stock market was tanking. Then the president announced a 90-day pause. Stock markets went up, but there's some conversation of the possibility of there being insider trading. So if you missed any of the details, here's anchor Lena DeFlorius with a timeline for us. Take a look.
Did President Trump just admit he's inside trading? And what is that anyway? When President Trump paused his tariffs for 90 days, the market shot up about 5 to 7% after 4 days of some pretty big losses. But it's what he did before that has people saying, yeah, that's illegal. So about 3.5 hours before the president announced the pause, he posted on social media, quote, "This is a great time to buy." Now, some people say that post proves he knew he was going to announce the pause, and the pause was going to swing the market. Knowing that ahead of time and giving people the heads up beforehand is what some people say is stock tipping, which would be like, hey, Mom, the company I work for is going to declare bankruptcy next week, so you should sell your stock right now. Now, that is insider trading because it's inside information that not everybody has, and it gives you an unfair advantage over other investors who wouldn't know yet that your company is declaring bankruptcy. Some people are saying the president's entire tariff plan the last 2 months has basically been market manipulation, that he is intentionally announcing tariffs and then pausing them to cause the market to dip and then bounce. The market dropped 650 points in early March when he announced tariffs against Canada, Mexico, and China, and then it bounced back when he paused them. It dropped again almost 700 points in late March when he confirmed that April 2nd tariffs were coming and that they were permanent. Now, other people are saying that's not insider trading. That's predictable. Since you saw the dip and the rebound tied to tariffs before, you could have been able to expect that the same would happen this time. Hope that helps. I'm Lena, your news anchor bestie. You can follow me if you care about this stuff.
That does help, Lena. Thank you so much. Hey, if you're looking to make some plans here this weekend, we got the 21st annual Corvette and Crawfish Festival being put on by the Space City Corvette Club. And our morning anchor, Delon Dillard, sat down with them to get us all the details.
And look, you can't go wrong when we're talking about horsepower, fast cars, and crawfish, right? You can't go wrong with it. I have AJ Loop with the Space City Corvette Club. Good morning to you, good sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Great. So tell me more about this crawfish boil and obviously car show that you'll be having this weekend.
So obviously you can see we got some horsepower out here in your parking lot this morning. Mm-hmm. So come Saturday at Stevenson's Park in Friendswood from 8:30 to 3, we have our 21st annual Corvettes and Crawfish Spring Car Show. benefits Mr. Miller with Texas Equine, and we're going to have a ton of horsepower in the park that day. We got delicious crawfish, and if you don't like crawfish, don't worry. We got hamburgers, hot dogs, sausage on a stick, ribbon cut fries,
Options.
donuts, that no-calorie stuff on Saturday.
Right,
The good for you,
right.
Yes, sir.
How important is this? You were saying this is 21 years.
Yes, sir.
Why did this start to begin with?
Well, so Space City Corvette Club, one of our mottos is driven to make a difference. So we like to make a difference in our community, to give back. The last 3 years, we've raised $295,000 for Tim Miller and Texas Equine, and what better organization to support? And they really need the funds. So this year, we're hoping to outdo ourselves again for a third year in a row, doing $100,000. All of our cash donations this year are being matched up to $10,000. Space City Corvette Club, and the easiest way you can do that, if you go to secc.info, you can make a cash donation, you can register your Corvette, and with your viewers' help, sorry about that, hopefully we'll hit our target of 200 plus Corvettes that day.
How important is it for our viewers who are watching that may consider, because I mean, it's going to be a great weekend to be outside.
The forecast is going to be great. It's going to be like ants to a picnic, right?
How important is it to get out and support this organization and the work you all are doing?
It's huge because we're the largest contributor to Texas Equine, and unfortunately, Mr. Miller couldn't be here this morning. He got called out on a search at 8:30, and he's always the one that best, says why. But they have so much expenses, and they don't take any money from families. So everything they do is by donations. And so it's real important to get out and help support the cause. This is one of the two biggest events he has of the year.
Gotcha. So if y'all want a preview of what you'll see this weekend, now I don't own a Corvette, so I'm not an expert on even opening. Okay, got the door open. There we go. There we go. I got to slide in because we don't want to.
No, you're good.
I'm slim. I can make it in here. There we go. There we go. All right. Avatar can't get both my legs in here, but oh wait, okay, here we go. I got it. And if you want to preview, here we go. There we go. You hear the horsepower in here. Now let me get out of your car before I mess anything up.
No, you're not gonna mess anything up. You're good.
And obviously a Corvette is not built for a brother who is best dressed person driving the car as I climb out of here at 6 feet tall and 4 inches. So if you want to see cars like this, and of course some crawfish, you got all your options here this weekend, Saturday. Remind us again the time and the place.
It's April 12th, this Saturday from 8:30 to 3 at Stevenson's Park in Friendswood.
All right. Make sure you meet them there this weekend, and you can see all the cool cars and some crawfish. Back to you.
DeLon know he's too tall to get in that Corvette. All right, that's good stuff, though. Check them out here this weekend. Don't forget, they got crawfish as well. Crawfish is in season. Make sure you guys go get some. Hey, when we return, consumer reporter Heather Sullivan is going to be joined by a dietitian to talk about eating healthy for less.
Montgomery County is working to outsource 45 inmates to the Waller County Jail because of overcrowding. In a commissioner's court meeting, Sheriff Wesley Doolittle said that they were running over capacity. The sheriff says about 70 to 80 inmates are pretrial felons. Officials say that the move will cost about $75 per prisoner, or about $3,300 a day. We are working to learn how many inmates are currently in the jail. Reporting from Montgomery County, Jade Fleury, Fox 26 News.
All right, welcome back. You know, we know during tough economic times, it can be really hard for families to put a healthy meal on the table. They're really struggling with bills. And we also know a lot of people just will turn to less healthy options. They're looking for comfort food and things like that. But there are so many fabulous, low-cost, healthy options so that you're fueling your body and managing, you know, what can be a really stressful situation better. So we wanted to help you find ways to, you know, feed your family low cost but healthy. So we invited Mary Catherine Hutchinson. She is a registered dietitian with HEB. Thanks so much for being with us.
Of course, thanks for having us.
And this is it's a fabulous spread. And what I like is these are things that people maybe might not think about.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So when we are thinking about healthy eating, a lot of times the first thing that comes to mind is, well, that's just more expensive. And it's really not the case. It's also, a lot of people think, well, if I eat really healthy, I'm probably going to be hungry or deprived, right? So when you are building those healthier meals, you want to have 4 main components. You want a protein source, a whole grain, or really a fiber source, lots of fruits and vegetables, and maybe a healthy fat thrown in there at the end. So what we have laid out here are, you know, lots of like cost-saving options within each of those food groups.
Yeah, wonderful.
So your proteins tend to be, which I have over here in the corner, tend to be the most expensive part of your meal, right?
Right.
So we are opting for the canned aisle. There's some really great finds. Canned tuna. It's a super lean source of protein, along with canned chicken.
Yeah, and we talked about that. People may not realize you can get canned chicken, canned salmon, lots of canned things these days.
Yeah, they make great chicken salad, tuna salad, but also you could throw like canned chicken into like a baked pasta or something, or pasta salad, something like that. Also beans. Beans are a sneaky source of tons of nutrition. When we are shopping in that canned aisle, though, from a health and wellness standpoint, we want to opt for the low sodium varieties. And if that also kind of scares you a little bit, don't be shy. You can throw in your own seasonings at home. You know, things like whole spices and maybe some fresh herbs. Maybe you're growing something out in the garden or something like that.
Yeah, great idea.
So that can really season them up really nicely. Another important satiating part of a meal is your complex carbs, your fiber-rich grains. So I have a few examples here: a tostada, some whole grain pasta, and just a whole wheat cracker. Really versatile, maybe a little bit unique. If anyone has tostadas very frequently, that would pair really well with your beans. But great for pasta salads, really filling. When we're looking at grain sources, we want about 3 grams or more of fiber per serving.
Okay, that's good to know.
We're going to Jade first, right? All right. Hey, what's up, you guys? Welcome back to Houston Live and Local. We are in the newsroom, kind of walking and talking. We still have more news for you here, though. First, we're going to head to our Jade Flurry. We got the Montgomery County Commissioners. They have given the green light now to a motion to outsource about 45 prisoners to the Waller County Jail, but it's going to cost some money. So let's hear what Jade has to say. Are we in Jade right now? Oh, I'm still on. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were going to Jade. Oh, okay. LOL. LOL. Okay, so we are here in the newsroom. We're going to walk and talk a little bit. Ramisha is back here today. We've got some weather going on. Let's see what we got here. Oh, she's working on an Easter Sunday forecast. So let me give you guys a quick little look here. Obviously, things are backwards, but you know, bear with me. So we have an early look ahead to Easter Sunday. The models show a low chance for showers, so that's a good thing. So if you're doing any Easter egg hunts out there, might be a good time to go ahead and plan and make sure you guys can do that outside. As we look at the city of Houston, 81 degrees. I know pretty much the entire 7 day, it's kind of like ticks up and up and up and up and up. And if I'm looking at it correctly here, we got a chance to hit 90 degrees. Yikes. Hello, friend. How are you?
Hello, everyone.
How
What's
are
up?
you? How are you?
Trying to get it together.
I know. Really quickly, quick little short weather. What we got?
Nothing.
No, you got something. You got something, girl.
Just the way I like it. How often do I get to say sunshine, no rain, beautiful weather,
And
no
that's it.
freeze, no triple digit heat for the next
mean,
7 days? It's about as quiet as it's going to get within a 7-day span for
Yeah.
H-Town. So,
Yeah.
I'm not complaining.
So what's like regular temps for this time of year? Because I feel like we're still in April and I'm already seeing like a 90-degree on the 7 day. Is that kind of typical for us?
Mid
Like,
to upper 70. So we're inching closer to that average high being around 80 degrees. Not quite there yet,
yeah.
but getting a little bit closer.
All right, Ramisha, we look forward to your newscast later. Oh, wait, before you go, Easter, an early look ahead. How?
That's right. You saw me preparing that graphic. I know Easter Sunday is a week from
Yeah.
Sunday, of course. And I was actually like looking up some information on kind of like how Easter gets the timing that it
Yeah,
does.
yeah, yeah.
And it has to do with basically like an event, a celestial event. So I'm going to talk about that
Wow, a
this
little
evening.
education.
Yes, a micro moon.
A micro moon.
And basically, when this micro moon occurs, Easter Sunday always falls the Sunday after that micro moon.
Well, we're gonna learn more about that.
Yeah, but I'll have the full story later. Watch our show.
Watch it. See, that's a tease, Ramisha. That was a tease. We gave you guys a tease, so you have to watch so you can learn more about the micro moon. All right, this is producer Mark. Um, I have a love-hate relationship with Mark right now. He actually went to Florida. He's a Gator.
I am a Gator.
And we don't hold it against him, but
Appreciate that.
he's my guy. All right, so this is our storyteller, and Mark is working on it right now. And what story we putting in here today, Mark?
This is the survey from the Hobby School of Public Affairs about how people feel about the city.
Okay.
Satisfactions, dissatisfactions with the mayor, with
Yeah.
public works.
They always do good stuff and put out some really good informative surveys. So we'll have more on that tonight at 5 and 6 as well. And who else I'm gonna bother? Then we got 30 seconds left to before the show is over. But again, remember, Jonathan Mejia, who was in our newscast at 2 o'clock earlier today, talking about that video where three guys went into this high-rise luxury apartment and then they tried to rob someone and it was caught on camera. That is the story I am most interested in here today. And you're going to see more about that tonight at 5 and 6. But that's it for me here on Houston Live and Local. I'm Anthony